It is bullet time roll call. Here we are. We've got all the bullets. The 5 pillars of my gun collection are sitting up here so far. Well, 5 of them. First of all, we've got the 380 automatic, the potent 38 special, the 9mm, the 40 Smith & Wesson, the 45 automatic Colt pistol ACP. Boy, and this is in order of potency. But there's one that should go at the end. And it was one of my newest guns. What is that? That bullet is... Ba-boom! Oh my god, what the heck is that? And just look at the size of that bullet compared to the 45 automatic. It's even funnier when you put it next to the 380. That is the bullet called the 7.62 by 54R. Very few guns shoot that bullet. But the gun that I am showing you today does shoot this bullet. And that gun is the Mosin Nagant. My Mosin face. My Mosin face. There it is. Now, if some of you may remember that I was showing pictures of the project from the time I got it, this gun was a bloody mess. And by bloody, I don't mean real blood. I mean it was completely filthy. I had to scrub mud off it. I had to actually clean the parts. Cleaning the barrel took a good half hour, 45 minutes inside and out because it was that sooted over. My guess with the amount of mud that was all over this rifle was that it was probably buried in a stash somewhere for quick retrieval. But here it is. I got done with it. I did all the work with it, and that's how it looks. Alright, so a little bit about the Mosin Nagant, right? Which this one here is a Type 53 carbine from China, but we're gonna get to that. In order to understand the Type 53 carbine, you gotta understand the whole history of the rifle. Okay, this is modeled after the Mosin Nagant. It's a bolt-action integral magazine-fed gun that was developed by the Imperial Russian Army in 1882 to 1891. I wasn't even born yet. So anyway, and it was used by the Russian Empire and the Soviet Union. So that was the Mosin Nagant. This one's, I say, daddy. And the reason that this gun came into production for Russia and the Soviet Union was because in the Russo-Ottoman War of 1877 to 1878, which I'm using Ottomans, ironically, to stand my camera up for this, the Russians were using single-shot outdated rifles, and they got their asses basically handed to them by the Turks. They suffered major catastrophic casualties at the hands of the Turks, and the lesson is, don't mess with the Turks. They will come back with your head on their belts. Anyway, in light of that, they appointed a special commission in 1889 because they wanted to update their army. And there was a couple fellers that were competing to upgrade the Windows 2.1 Russian Empire. And they each brought their own design. And those chaps were Captain Sergei Mosin and the Belgian Léon Nagant. And all politics aside, the winning rifle compiled the two fellas' best ideas and gave me the Mosin Nagant. It's been in service from 1891 up till now. It started as the 9130 rifle, which was much longer than this one you're looking at right now. This rifle is the Chinese Type 53 carbine. It's modeled more closely, though, after the shortened 9130, which became the M1944 carbine by the Soviet Union. However, this one is Chinese. This is a shorter and more maneuverable version of the 9130, and it has an attached bayonet right here. And this was built on granted license from the Russians by the Chinese. They each have their own special parts and stuff. For example, this is a combination of Soviet parts and Chinese parts, and one of the Chinese parts is actually the wood. After having looked into the history of the Chinese Type 53 carbine, I see that it was made of something called a chew wood. Right? Interesting. Now, my particular rifle was made in 1955, right? And it saw its service with the People's Liberation Army, faux show, which was from 1953 until the early 60s. And so these guns were actually found in the hands of the Vietnamese in the Khmer Rouge in Cambodia. So the Mosin Nagant legacy went on way beyond the Soviet Union and Russia, and these guns were found all over the world, including the Middle East. Now, how is that? I'm going to go sit next to it so I can show you some stuff. So, this rifle here, you can see my flabby white knees in the mirror. Okay. Anyway, this rifle right here is the Chinese Type 53 carbine. I'm going to try to get this up to you closer so you can see some of the writing. Maybe you can see some of the writing. Can you read that? Can you see that? I don't know. Anyway, it says it was made in 1955, and it's got some distinguishable markings on it. Right here, I believe, is the person's initials that had this gun. I think that's Chinese for Ned. And then there's all sorts of proof marks here, that you can see, and they're present on all of them. There's like little number 7s, and you see that little number. I don't know what these mean when you look at this, but the proof marks are really all over. And this one right here, I had a Chinese person actually interpret it for us, and this just means that this rifle was made in the Chongqing factory in China, right? So we know that. And now, to give you an idea about the attached bayonet that came with this rifle, here's what they were talking about. Oh boy. Okay? You don't want to stick that in your eye. Oh, no. That is a very sharp bayonet, and if you can see, it is actually a star-shaped bayonet, right? Which means when you stick this thing in someone, it's spreading that wound open, and it's not quite so easy to sew up. Nasty. Ugh. But, so anyway, this rifle came all caked and crap, and I think I did a pretty decent job cleaning it up, and I got very lucky with this one because I have a very smooth acting bolt. Very smooth. Not many are that smooth. And so I was delighted to actually shoot it. And I got to tell you that this thing is fun to shoot. And I also got to tell you that the 7.62 by 5.4 round is an ass kicker. I am talking ass kicker. Folks. Anyway, got lucky with the bolt. And when I told you that this had an integral magazine, this is it right here. Right? That's it. That's just to let the bullets out the bottom. But you can also see it from the top here. When you open this slide, and you can see the inside of it. I'm not sure how good my light is here. But you can push the bullets in through the top, and they go down into this integral magazine. Let me get my finger where you guys can see it. Where they go into the integral magazine. Holds 5 shots, right? This thing presses them upward so that the bolt can pick them up and shove them into the chamber, release the firing pin, and bango, destruction. Because this is a major shot from a gun. Now I know there's a lot of people out there who have this gun because it is so cheap. The Mosin Nagant and the Chinese Type 53, this type of rifle numbers 17 million of these things out there. So when they found the stashes of these old post-war rifles, they were really excited to get them sold, and they didn't have to sell them for a lot of money. This one was just a little over $100. And I gotta tell you, it's one of the best $100 I've ever spent. Now I'll go on with the features of the rifle. This is the safety. So if you've got your rifle cocked and there is a round in there, you pull this thing out, which is very freaking hard, and then you tip it off to the side just a little bit like that. Did you all see that, by the way? I hope so. It's really hard for me to get my angle because I'm looking at this absolutely upside down. That's the safety on, and it's really hard to pull back. You got to be Lou Ferrigno to get this safety engaged, and then you just pull it back out and face it forward, and bingo bango, rock and roll. What a hard hitter this bullet is. Now, with this rifle, I was really concerned that, is it going to be accurate? I mean, for $100, I wasn't going to cry too much. But was this going to be accurate? And I got to tell you that in my sight, yes, it is. Let me show you. This right here is one round of bullets from the Type 53 at 20 yards. I wanted to make sure that this gun was going to be accurate, and to take it outside from a standing position was hard. But from a bench, this is 20 yards from a bench with just using its sights. Now let me show you its sights a little bit here without scaring people. The gun's unloaded, you saw that. But the sight looks like this from this angle, and from this at this angle, and you kind of got to line them up. You know what I mean? You got to line up this with that and make a straight line picture with it. Just to put it to you easier, in case you didn't know. But I am proud to report that this thing is accurate. It is very accurate. Again, I'll show you. Look at that. This is from 25 yards away. 25 yards away from a bench. But folks, this is with my eyes, which are continually screwing up and degrading by the minute. So this is just with my eyes through these sights. How about that? So this is a good rifle. I think it's a good one to have. Here's another one. Here's another target. This is from 20. Look at that. There's two in there. And then look at the tight group. Can't go wrong. $100. This is a high-powered rifle. This is right up there with your 30-06s and your 308s. The one thing about the Mosin Nagant is that ammunition is cheap if you buy the Russian-made ammunition. If you buy the missile that I showed you in the beginning, get that there? If you buy the missile from Russia, the Soviet one that was aimed at New York, these are about $10 for a box of 20, give or take $1 or $2, but really not much. And this is a high-powered round, right? However, it is all steel. It's completely magnetic. I was told by the people at my range that I could not use this round because it would go through their steel traps and into the brick wall foundation of the building. So that should give you some idea how strong the round is. Instead, I had to buy their other rounds that they had from Winchester, which unfortunately were $23 for a box of 20. You can get really cheap rounds, and this is really good if you can get hold of the Russian ammunition. And it's good even if you can use Winchester, because this gun is fun to shoot. It's fun to erect the bayonet for everybody. Erect. And show people that, because that's really kind of a cool feature, that it's built in like that. More novelty, though. I don't see myself sticking anybody with it. I don't even see myself shooting anyone with it. But there you go. This was the project. And like I said before, I had to take all the parts off, which I did, which was done easily enough. There's a screw here. Here's a screw here. And the parts come off easy. These just slide off. So the process of getting it together was, and cleaned and back together, was kind of time consuming. I gotta say, it took me a couple days work. Couple 8-hour days to get this rifle in this condition. I'm showing you pictures of before and after, so I'll give you a little musical Broadway show about how I got this thing all dirty and made it all clean at the end of this. But anyway, if you are a fan of shooting the guns, and I know you are, this is the rifle to get. Absolutely. Right? This was the best $119 I have ever spent. And I got lucky with the bolt and everything, but this is the best money I've ever spent. So, for that much money, to get a piece of history. You don't know what has happened with this. You don't really know who has had this. You don't know if this rifle's taken a life. You don't know anything about this rifle when you get them. And neither does Buds or whoever it is you get the rifle from. They just grab a box that says Chinese Type 53 carbine or Mosin Nagant, and then they send it off. They don't inspect it. So you get what you get, and you're willing to pay for it. $100 didn't hurt too bad, so I was glad. I got lucky. I got one of the best toys in the Cracker Jack box. Anyway, thanks for watching this. This has been a joy. I love this thing all the way around, and I will shoot it as often as I can just because of how fun it is. Coming up is the picture display of the progression of this Type 53 Chinese carbine and some videos of me shooting it. Thanks for watching. My email address is scrolling across the bottom of the screen as we speak right now. doingproper@gmail.com. Ask me any questions you want and I will answer them, providing I know the answer and 2, you are not an ass about your question. Thanks for watching. God bless America and long live this Chinese, Russian, American Republic. Mosin Nagant. This is the first range visit with this. Think I got one more here? Quite a round, isn't it?
It does kick. Even I watch too improper.